Why am I going so far back?
You got to fall over in your chair.
My chair.
That could be the viral moment we're looking for.
If I just disappear, you'll know where I went.
Hey, watch him! We're Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! We're Dan and Tony! It's like watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
And on this show, we watch a movie, then we talk about the movie. And this week, I got to pick the movie. You know why I got to pick the movie? Because I'm Dan.
Because it's my show.
Oh, okay.
I was being you. I wasn't saying it's
me.
My show. That was my Dan Goodsell impression.
You should have said my show.
It's my show. There's my Dan Goodsell.
And this week, I picked a movie that I really hated because I saw it one other time. And it was one of the movies that I was like, we should do a show where we talk about terrible movies. And this will be one of the movies we talk about. Now we're finally talking about it. And I got to watch it again. And it was...
Yeah, how did it feel the second time?
Just as terrible. Although I remembered like a whole part that happened that didn't happen. So I don't know if I'm confusing this with another movie a little bit or something.
Are you confusing it with Predators that came out in like 2011 with Adrian Brody? I might have made the year up, just FYI.
No, because I don't think I've seen that one. But I'd seen this one, and I remembered the first third of the movie, and then the second 2/3, I was like, I don't remember a lot of this.
Well, the third act is very forgettable, so that makes a lot of sense. And then the first two acts are memorable for the wrong reasons, I would argue.
So yes, Predator 2018, The Predator 2018, not the really good one.
The Predator.
What was the good one that came out in like 2020 or 2021?
Prey.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 movie. I got to watch that movie again.
That was fun. Yeah.
The only good thing about this movie, hour and 46 minutes, although being an hour and 46 minutes, they cut out a number of scenes, and you could tell they cut out a number of scenes so that, that's what I was going to say. This movie didn't make any sense to me.
I don't think you're alone in that. This movie doesn't make sense in general. Did you do your homework on this?
Research on this
okay, so Dan, first of all, the entire third act, not what they had written originally. That was it. The movie was delayed twice to reshoot and rewrite the third act multiple times because the studio did not like what they decided to do with the movie. Then Shane Black, and I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't know all the information. Sure. I just cursory know he hired one of his friends. It may or may not be a sex offender. Spoiler alert, he is. And he didn't tell anyone. So then he had to retroactively remove all of that person's scenes from the movie. And from what I understand, they didn't reshoot it. They just were like, nah, we're just going to drop those scenes.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
So you're saying like there's a character sitting in one of the seats in the bus at times that
I don't know
disappeared?
I don't know who he played. I know that he had a scene with Olivia Munn because she was very upset when she found out that he was a sex offender and that she did scenes with him without knowing. So he was removed from the movie. So that happened. And then, and then just in general, just terrible editing. Just awful editing. I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if Studio Notes came in with that, but the movie's gobbledygook. It's nonsense. We'll talk about the third act when we get there, about what they were planning versus what happened in real life.
Because at some point they appear and they just have like an RV. And you're just like, what? Why do they have an RV?
Yeah, you're right about that. I don't know. I'm not going to try to defend this movie. If people don't know, I love these two guys, Shane Black, Fred Dekker, the two greatest humans on the planet. Not humans, sorry. Two of my favorite writers on the planet. They wrote Monster Squad together.
Oh.
And they also wrote Night of the Creeps together. Two movies that I adore from the 80s.
And they wrote this incomprehensible pile of garbage.
Well, from what I could tell, they haven't written together in a long time. And then they got together and they wrote a pilot called Edge that didn't go anywhere, from what I could tell. And then while doing that, they were like, we should do a Predator movie. And then they wrote this. And I imagine that they're done writing together. I don't know. But Fred seems less enthused about the final product.
And what does Fred do now? Is Fred writing something that's decent, or is he?
I don't think so. No, he hadn't had. So he did this movie in 2018. He did the pilot for Edge in 2015, and before that, I think it was like early 2000s before he had another credit. So I think he's been like kind of out of the business, and then Shane, pulled him out of retirement for one last go, or like a movie would have it, but it didn't turn out very good.
Nope.
Also, Dan, you
Yeah.
should know I read an interview with Decker, and he's like, I don't like the Predator movies. So keep that in your mind. He wanted to do something different. He thinks that they're just like macho, he doesn't love that. He wanted to know more about the Predators, and his whole pitch was, what do the Predator do when they go home after they're done hunting? Because humans go out and hunt, and then they come home and they have to have real lives. So that was the idea that he pitched for the movie, and they just kind of get into it. And then the third act was supposed to be all about that, and then it wasn't.
So it's like the Predator's like 9-to-5 job where he's like,
Exactly. Yeah, like Predator. Yeah, he's a hunter, but he goes home. They have a planet. What do they do over there? They created interstellar travel or whatever, so they're clearly smart. They have people that are not just hunters, right? Someone's got to be a scientist. So they were thinking about that, and it turns out that nobody gives a shit about that. Like, that's not why we watch a Predator movie. We watch a Predator movie for the Predator to go kill people.
Well, I mean, one of the few interesting ideas is that they actually don't just come here to hunt people, but I mean that's a byproduct of it. But they come here to get to harvest our DNA.
Well, you might have loved the third act. Let me just, let's just get right into spoilers alert. The third act, their idea was the capsule in the spaceship that, ends up being something very different at the end of the movie, which we'll talk about because it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But inside that capsule in their draft were a bunch of eggs from all of the different hybrids they've created. Ugh. And then those eggs hatch. And the third act is them hunting down these hybrids.
Oh, that's moderately interesting.
I agree. Didn't happen.
That's an idea. Right. Okay, well, there you go. There's always ideas behind movies, and some people make the decision not to use the ideas and just to make the whole thing a gigantic worthless mess.
Yeah.
So
I'm done. Let's go.
We start with a couple of ships that are fighting out in space. So one of them slips away through a wormhole and comes to Earth.
Now, Dan, did this wormhole look almost identical to the wormhole in Rebel Moon to you? It had the same shape and it did the same thing. And I was just like, that's interesting. Is that just what we think wormholes look like? Or does Zack Snyder have no original ideas?
Zack Snyder probably just, borrowed that plug-in. I got
just
one.
A little After Effects plug-in. Yeah.
No one's going to remember that this was used in the 2018 Predator. Yeah, that movie, Rebel Moon. Oh.
I think people hate it more than it deserves to be hated. It's not good, but it's also not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's just like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching them talk about grain all day?
I watched did you watch the Honest trailers where they talked all about about grain?
Not yet, but I will.
And, they make the good point is the most interesting thing in the whole thing is the Anthony Hopkins robot, which is written out very quickly out of the first act.
I think he's going to play a good portion in the second movie, but I agree 100%. That's the only character that was a character, which is weird because it's a robot. And the humans are very flat.
When you're sitting there writing your movie and you write a good character, that's the character you should probably pursue.
No, that's the one that's like, you know what? Let's save him for the sequel because people are going to want to see that.
And what was the other thing? I mean, the first act was the most interesting thing of the whole movie. The second act 2 and the finale were the worst parts of the movie. By far.
It's almost nothing. I would actually argue it is nothing because no spoilers. Never mind.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. It's not great, but I am ready. I'm excited to see part 2 and I will watch it.
So the ship crashes on Earth. The ship crashes and there's an escape pod, and I guess is the Predator in the escape pod?
I don't think so, because I think the escape pod was actually just the the capsule that everyone's looking for, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Dan. I don't. I have no idea.
So, boom, this happens during the day, but we pick up.
But then it's night.
We continue with the movie, and it's night.
Within minutes. I don't know. Listen, I don't hang out. I think this is Mexico. I think they said. Maybe the sun falls really quickly. Maybe it's about 6 minutes.
Let's play the most fun game that we can play before we get into it. Can you name a character in the movie?
Yes.
Fire away.
The Predator.
I
thought I remembered the main guy's name, and I don't. I thought I did.
I have no idea what his name is. I did not write it down.
Isn't Key's name like...
I wrote down
Coyle or Doyle.
His name is
something like that.
His name is Coyle. There's a guy named Nebraska. There's a guy named Lynch. There's a guy named Nettles.
Oh yeah, Nebraska.
And Thomas Jane's character has a name. But the only reason I know those names is because we took a scene where we very carefully said each of their names and gave their bios in order. And I wrote them down dutifully. They use a few of their names later.
Yeah,
so you can kind of catch it. But the main character's wife, main character has a kid who they say his name, and you can know his name. Olivia Munn's character, they give her last name, and then they give her first name. I think her first name's KC.
Okay.
But they use her name very sparingly, and you know a movie is not developing the characters when you don't know the characters' names. You just like...
Well, you know what's interesting, and maybe this is just me. I don't know. I don't write movies, But Olivia Munn doesn't even get an introduction.
Yeah, she does.
You know what I mean?
They meet her. The government guys pick her up, and we.
But she has no character. Anything. She's just standing there. Does she even say a word? They come up to her in a park, and they're like, "We need your star. You like stars?" And she's like, "Oh God!" And then she's just with them. Shouldn't she have some sort of moment where we meet her and get a brief understanding of either what she does or who she is?
Well, they probably...
Everybody else in this movie gets like all of the cons on the bus, not cons, sorry, wrong movie. All the people on the bus, the loonies as they call them, they all get backstories when we first meet them. But she's a much bigger part of the movie than they are, technically, right?
Ostensibly, yeah.
So I just feel like she should have a proper introduction that shows me... I don't even know what she does. She says she's a biologist or something?
She's an exobiologist, so she's a biologist for alien creatures.
That's an interesting thing to start with. What is she working on? Who is she? What's she interested in? And then, then she gets pulled away from her work. Maybe she's upset about that. Maybe she's got something she wants to work. She's like, I don't even want to be here. I got my own stuff. And they're like, you're going to want to see this. I don't know. Just give her something to do. Okay. I just feel like she's just all of a sudden, she's in the movie.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, she plays another action hero, which doesn't make any sense. And she's this person that's supposed to ostensibly be the scientist. She spends more time running around with guns than just about anybody else.
She does. You're absolutely right.
Very weird.
And I don't know. What a mess. All right. Sorry.
So our main guy, is he the guy from Suicide Squad? Is it that guy?
No, but they do look a lot alike. I agree with you. But that dude was just in a movie called Silent Night, and it is atrocious.
Oh, so we don't even know who he is. He's just a dude.
He is from Narcos, I believe.
So we'll call him Narcos guy.
But the whole time, I'm going to be honest with you, the entire movie, I just kept wishing that it was Dacre Montgomery. The entire time. Yeah. I was like, man, this movie would be much better if this was Dacre.
Me too.
You know what? You say that sarcastically, but Dacre Montgomery is good, and you know it, and he would have been great. Very sexy.
Which one is he? Is
I hate you,
the Dan. Stranger Things guy?
From Stranger Things,
oh, yeah.
Yes.
He'd be much better. Yeah. I mean, this guy's not terrible.
No, he's not terrible.
But he's just, there's nothing makes him stand out as a leader or a hero.
Well, so I think the problem is, for me, is that he's not given anything to do, and so it's all of his... Everything that he does is on him as an actor. He needs to be charismatic and charming and brooding all at the same time, so that even though there's nothing for him to do in the movie, I'm still drawn to him. And I just believe that Dacre can do that without even trying. That guy is unbelievable.
So you say. So he's a soldier, and they're trying to save this hostage in Mexico, and they've got a group of them. And then the spaceship, I guess the pod crashes,
Man.
and I guess the Predator's in there, and so he goes down to the pod, and the helmet is there, and the cuff is there, right?
Yeah, the arm sleeve, yeah.
But the Predator's left without his helmet, without his arm sleeve for an unknowable reason.
Well, that's why I feel like it's somehow separate. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, you're absolutely right, and I don't understand why or how.
So his buddy shows up and is like, what are you doing with that stuff? And he's all like, I'm collecting evidence. And you're like, what? So
Huh?
so basically he already knows that he's gonna get
He knows
blamed.
exactly what is going to happen.
Yeah.
He is so smart. He's like, oh shit, alien fell from the sky. They're going to pretend there's no alien, so I have to bring my evidence of aliens because they're going to try to pin stuff on. Like, he figured it all out immediately.
Yeah, very weird. He puts on the gauntlet and it grabs his arm, and immediately, that's the other thing. Any human being can just pick up any piece of alien technology and work it instantly. At one point, his autistic kid watches them type in the numbers to get in the door. One time, he's watching at that point, and then when he has to open the door, he remembers the exact sequence. If you told me 3 numbers and said, Dan, in 1 hour, you're going to have to tell me what those 3 numbers are, I'd be like, good luck. I hope your life does not depend on this.
Also, Dan, no one's going to tell you that. It's more like if I drop 3 numbers and then in an hour, I'm like, repeat them or you're dead.
Yes.
And then
Tony fleetingly holds up a thing and there were 3 numbers on. Then later on, he's like, what were those 3 numbers on the pad? I'd
what
be
were
like,
those numbers? I need them. It's life or death, Dan. I need them right now. Yeah.
And that's 3 numbers. That's not like a complex
full code that you don't actually even really see the keypad, so you're just kind of going off of distance. I don't know, man.
So this movie does a lot of things like that, which just confuse the audience and just make things more unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah.
So boom, there's a dead guy up the tree, the Predator's up the tree, and then he uses the glove, he shoots the Predator. I thought he blew its arm off, but I guess he didn't.
Well, I thought, I mean, I agree. He certainly blew something off, it seemed.
Oh, okay.
Because there was like an explosion, but then the Predator was fine, other than semi-unconscious at one point. I don't know. Just keep talking. I don't understand.
So he does that, then he runs away, and then he pushes another button on the thing, and a pellet pops out of that, and then the secret helicopter of Men in Black show up, and they take over the thing, and then there's like Mentos Man who's like popping candy, another character I don't think we ever heard a name on.
Did you talk about when he chops his guy in half yet? Because at some point, our main guy hits a button and he chops the guy that's dead in the tree in half.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And then the blood drips down onto the invisible Predator.
Oh.
And then it's like, that's how he sees him for a second. It's all, I don't know why the Predator's unconscious or napping under the guy. I don't know. But there's a scene at some point where the guy in the tree gets chopped in half and then his blood drips down and it covers the Predator while he's napping on the ground.
Okay.
I was hoping you were going to explain it to me, and now I'm sad because you can't.
So Mentos Man shows up, and I guess he collects the Predator and collects all the equipment.
Because he knows what's there. I guess they know it's the Predator because he's like, anything that's not from here, grab it. So they're there to collect whatever alien stuff there is.
So they were, I guess they were tracking it, and somehow they were ready with a helicopter to come there. Specifically knowing
pretty
exactly
quickly,
what it is.
Because this is Mexico, right? So ostensibly they're coming from the U.S. I don't know. I feel like they left pretty quick. Now,
yep.
How do you feel about Sterling?
Who's Sterling?
Sterling K. Brown and Mentos Man.
I mean, I would like to see him in a good movie.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree, because I love him in this movie, and I just wish there was more for him to do, because the little bit that he gets, I really enjoy some of the stuff he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a terrible guy, Did he and the other guy say, "Well, we're going to meet up later and fight this out," and then they never meet up later and never fight it
Yeah.
out?
Oh yeah. You know, there's because it's the tough guy. They're trying to keep that tough guy from the original. So like at towards the end of the movie, he's like, "Well, when we get back, you and I are gonna dance." He's like, "I got my shoes on." I don't know what he said, something stupid. But yeah, they promised a fight, and then the guy dies. I'm pretty sure Sterling K. Brown blows his own head off,
Oh,
right?
he does die, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he shoots himself in the head with his shoulder cannon. I don't
Why
know,
would you
dude.
set that up if you weren't going to do it? You can't set a fight up and just not do it for no reason. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
So the next day, he's at a cantina. He walks in there and then shows that he has a gun that scare everybody off for a reason, and then he like goes to the dude and he like turns invisible because somehow he's found out that the pellet that shot out of the gauntlet is the invisibility pellet. And you're like, how does he know how to work that?
I assumed this was him figuring it out, but it doesn't seem that way because when he turns back visible, nobody's surprised. Neither him nor the guy that's working at the post office are surprised that a human being just turned invisible.
He's not at the post office. He's at a cantina.
But then why is he telling him to mail his backpack?
Then he says to this guy at the cantina, he's like, you're going to take this to the mail and you're going to send it back to my house, my P.O. box.
I thought that was the mail guy.
I don't
thought
think
he was
so.
like, just ship this back. So you're saying that he sent that guy to go to the mailbox and be like, ship this out, but bring me back my backpack because he wants the backpack back. Dude, I don't know. This was a weird scene. I don't know.
And then he's like, man, so it's getting mailed home. Somehow he trusts that this guy's going to take this thing and go mail it for him. Unbelievable, whatever.
He just saw you use it to turn invisible. Like he knows whatever's in there is going to be valuable.
He keeps the invisibility thing.
Well, he keeps it because he's going to eat it in a minute, like a fucking idiot. But you have technology in your hand that turns you invisible, and you're like, hey, mail this. This is big stuff. It's got to be cool. I'm keeping it.
Does the cuff turn him invisible or does the pellet turn him invisible?
I thought the pellet did because doesn't he give his kid the pellet at some point? And is like, this'll disguise
I think you just, if you click the pellet, you do the predator, you can't be seen.
Which doesn't really make any sense because the predator's not just carrying around a little ball, a clicky pen. You know what I mean? Just
more importantly, right? The predator that he just saw had the invisibility, and now how does does it have two invisibilities?
That's a good point. Well, you gotta have one for each hand, right? You're clicky. I don't know.
So now we cut to his precocious kid who has Asperger's. Is that what he has?
I mean, that's what they say like 100 times in the movie.
So he has Asperger's when he wants to, and then he's a total normal functioning kid when he doesn't want. When he doesn't want.
Listen, I'm not versed on Asperger's. I would argue that either are Shane or Fred. So I'm going to try to stay away. I think that this was a fairly offensive portrayal. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't think they did a good job. I also don't even know why they made that choice. That feels like a fairly arbitrary choice for a movie that isn't going to deal with that at all.
So the kid... So he's there, kids are playing chess, they hit a fire alarm, he goes there and doing the batting the ears until he stops batting the ears because of the fire alarm. The two bullies come in and they're like, we're going to bully you, but you have a problem, so we're not going to bully you because
they decide to leave.
And then they just leave.
Listen, I've met a lot of bullies in my life, Dan. They don't leave. They went there looking for him. They are not just going to walk away. That's the silliest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
They knock over the chessboards, and then the kid's like, I'm going to stop being annoyed by the sound because there's chess pieces, and I'm going to put back all the chess pieces to where they were on the chessboards, just showing us how smart he is.
Yeah, what is that called? Like an eidetic memory? Is that what that is? So, like, they just want you to know that he's got that, I guess.
Well, they're pitching through this movie that he is the next evolution in humanity, which he is not, sadly. I would like to think, but a lot of those kind of memory tricks and things are not necessarily signs of higher intelligence, but just signs of higher pattern recognition, which is pattern recognition, great. But it's
I would love it
but it's
to know to pattern recognize. Is that what I say?
yeah, sure, Tony.
You know that game Memory, where like, you flip over the little
Sure, whatever,
not plastic. You know
whatever
what
you
I'm trying
flip
to say?
over.
Little squares.
Sure.
I play like my 6-year-old nephew, and he destroys me in it. Like I have the worst memory on the planet. I can't remember nothing. So
There it
that's
is.
all. I'm just jealous.
Boom, boom, boom. So he puts them all back. And then I wrote, it's a magic moment because they put magic music on during it. Sweeping Spielbergian music that makes you go like, he can put chess pieces on a chessboard.
They
He's
use
going
it
to
a
be
couple times
okay.
inappropriately. He's gonna be okay.
He's walking home after school, walks past a house with a barking dog. This kid, if he was who they say he is, would know where every barking dog is in the world, and he would avoid them all.
Yes. Yeah.
Nope.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
The mailman shows up with the big box, which is from Mexico. How this thing got from here to Mexico seemingly in a day.
Oh, yeah. They flew that shit overnight.
More importantly, it went to his P.O. box, but then his P.O. box was out of commission, and so it went to his house.
Is that what it was? Because because later he's like, I sent it to a P.O. box. I was like, no, you didn't, bro. It went straight to your house.
No, the mailman says that.
Okay.
He does.
Weird exposition, but okay.
The mailman takes the time to say, this went to your dad's P.O. box, but he hasn't paid for his P.O. box, so now I'm bringing it to you. And you're just like, okay, let me tell you something about mailing something from Mexico to America that's alien technology. That is going to get flagged so quickly.
Up and down, all over the place. I can't even get a battery into my luggage at the airport without getting flagged. All right. This guy's got some sort of alien tech. There's probably nuclear power on it. I don't know. It's getting flagged.
That is not waltzing its way through customs, but somehow it gets through customs in a day, and then
straight to
then straight to the house through the route to the PO box. You're like, what? Why?
No, that's like a 3-week process. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so weird. And then we get one of the lines I actually kind of liked is the kid says to the mailman, he kills people so you could be a mailman. I'm like, whoa, passive aggressive much.
He kills people so you could have your freedom.
Wow, shame the poor mailman for being a mailman.
Yeah, like as if he did something wrong. He's just bringing you your mail so fast, kid. You should be thanking him every day.
So now we meet Olivia Munn. She plays the doctor. It's your classic. The spooks show up and they're like, "You're coming with us," and she's like, "I'm coming with you." And then they show her pictures of like alien crash sites, and she's all like, she's like not even that blown away by it.
Well, so that's what I'm saying is that I'm so confused by her introduction. Like if I knew at the time, if she was dealing with aliens something, right?
Yeah.
And then she gets taken away and has different kinds of alien stuff. I'm like, okay, she's in her wheelhouse. I understand it. She's walking in a courtyard, and these guys come up and they're like, we've heard you like stargazing. And then she's like, her eyes get big, and then all of a sudden she's in a limo or something and looking at aliens, and she's like, well, what? So what's this going on? I don't know. It was messy. I needed something to set her up before she's just in the shit.
So, boom, mom is back with the kid. Who are you going to be for Halloween, pirate or Frankenstein?
Wait, hold on a second, Dan. We have to talk about something. The kid gets home. I was just looking at my notes. The kid gets home, and there's a note on the table that is like from the mom. It's like, hey, I'm not here anymore. I just cleaned. If you make a mess, I'll cut you.
That is not what you write to a kid with...
He's a kid, especially if he is hypersensitive, we'll say.
Struggling.
Like, I was so confused by this letter, this note that the mom left threatening her child. It's so out of place in the movie as well. I don't understand. Somebody thought that was a funny joke on set, I think, but it was bizarre. Sorry, continue.
So he's all like, the kids will still know it's me, and they will still torment me. Okay.
But, also, they kind of won't, Because they just left you alone, bro.
Well, because
They
the
did not bully you.
bullies are in movie jail, right? They're like,
Yeah.
we want him to be bullied, but we can't bully him anymore. So because of how movies work, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
So there's just a weird thing where they're like, we want to bully you, but we're gonna go get lunch. We'll see you later. But we want to bully you.
well, it's what you call like truly lazy screenwriting, right? The screenwriting thing where you can have this kid actually get bullied is over, but they still want to write their bullies, so they still write them in, even though they can't perform the function that
They
they're
can't
supposed to
actually
perform.
do it. Yeah.
Which is like, just write something different. Make him have
maybe just try a
problems with
different
something else.
approach.
You know,
We've done that. We've done it. We're over it. Let's do something different.
this is not my lunch. This is not my lunch. This is not my lunch. Okay, we got it. This
All right,
kid
all right,
has
cool, cool,
problems. The
Yeah.
teacher's like, no, man, that's your lunch. He's like, not my lunch, not my lunch. Okay, we got
Also, where is the teacher,
it.
Dan?
No teachers.
The kids, there's a fire alarm,
Running
and this
wild.
kid gets left in the classroom by himself.
Running wild.
Where's the adult that's like getting people outside?
Nope.
This is dumb.
Everyone leaves, and the dangerous bullies roam the halls
This
freely.
is bizarre. Yeah, this don't make no sense.
So Soldier Boy, Narcos Boy, is being interrogated on a polygraph, and they're all like, "Did you see any aliens?" And he's all like, "I kill people. I don't know." And then they're like, the Mentos man is like watching him. He's like, "Oh yeah, he saw something. He saw something."
There's a point in this scene where the guy doing the interview, what did you say it was?
Interrogation.
The interrogation. He says, and I quote, "You were once quoted as saying I fell out of my mom's womb and started crawling through enemy territory to my grave." First of all, when would he have been quoted saying that, Dan? What? I would love to have seen a flashback to this scene where he uses that in a place where someone's like, I'm going to write that down. That's a quote that we're going to have to use later. I don't understand what is happening.
He had an embedded Newsweek person with him while he was in Iraq.
Oh, he had a journalist following. It's just a really dumb. Like, I understand that they're trying to give him like cool 80s action lines or whatever, but just so weird. It's just the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So Stupid Kid has opened up the helmet and the cuff, and he starts playing with them. This helmet looks like it's a piece of plastic. The cuff looks like it's a piece of plastic.
Well, they are plastic, Dan. Okay. We don't have any unknown metals on Earth, all right?
I was watching a thing where they were showing the new Aquaman costumes, and his,
sure.
the gold one with all the scales, and then they pushed on it. It was all rubbery, even though it's supposed to be like scales. And you're like, it looked pretty interesting, but at the same time, it just looked like just more, almost CGI Drek. Just like,
well, guess what? Just hold your horses till February when that thing comes out on streaming, because we're gonna do it.
So the kid activates the cuff and then immediately starts. Seeing star charts, and he doesn't get the movie yet, but he does a movie in a minute.
Is it a movie?
I don't know. It looked like a movie.
I thought that it was somehow like connecting, like FaceTiming a different helmet and seeing through it. I thought he was doing like a voice chat, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's a movie.
Maybe it's a movie.
I don't know, man.
No, because it had cuts in it, so it wasn't him just. And at other times, the other predators activate the helmet there and then look through it and see where he's at.
Okay, so maybe that's why I got confused. Yeah. Eventually, I was like, oh, maybe he was having a FaceTime with the other helmets. Okay.
So Narcos is now a traitor to the world, and so they're going to send him to military prison, and so they put him on the prison bus. And here we meet the loonies, which is Thomas Jane is a guy with Tourette's, which is just so painful.
Why would you? First, there was also an interview with Thomas Jane, and he seemed real upset. Like I think he hated this entire process.
Oh, I can imagine. He was an unhappy camper. You could tell.
Why? Why would we even do this?
Because he's a loony.
Yeah, I mean, the loonies are all fairly offensive in their own way, right? Yes. But like that one is almost like we're trying to be offensive.
That was by far the worst one.
Like it felt, because, and no offense to Thomas Jane, I wouldn't be able to do this. I think that this would seem very difficult to do this and make it seem genuine. but it doesn't, right? Like it feels like a
no.
guy forcing this type of thing and then saying things that are clearly written just to make jokes somehow, which is not, you shouldn't be making jokes about Tourette's, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm, part of the woke media problem and I'm too sensitive now, but this whole thing just feels like a terrible plan.
People with Tourette's that you've seen in real, in media that are they're actual people. They trigger and they stutter and they have so many verbal issues that to make him like I talk like this normal and then I go like "Bop, bop, bop," and I say one inappropriate thing. It's like no, it's not how it works, man. This is a person that
Yeah.
who has a bunch of neurological issues, and it's there was no tragedy in him.
Yeah, it was almost all played for jokes. Like that's not a joke. To me, I don't know.
Not
To
a
me,
joke.
maybe somebody thought this was hilarious and good on you. But he's a character I didn't laugh at once, even
No.
though he has a lot of things that I believe are supposed to be jokes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's very very questionable that they should
All I
be.
know is while I was watching it, I kept thinking, "Oh, poor Thomas Jane. I can't imagine trying to do this on set and like not losing my mind."
Yeah, it was not a fair place to put someone like him, who's like
Yeah.
a really good actor
I
and
love Thomas Jane. I love him. I love him to death, and I just felt bad for him the whole
yeah,
time.
you've thrown him down a terrible terrible hole. So then Keegan Michael Key plays the Coyle, the guy that tells jokes. There's a guy named Nebraska who I have. Nebraska is like sort of the leader of them. He's a guy who
Yeah.
tried
So
to kill himself, I guess.
do you? Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, apparently he shot himself and then walked to the hospital, which is, I mean, it's all possible, but just again, just really weird. And then you just make him kill himself later in the movie anyhow, and it's like, what are we doing?
Well,
That is not
they
okay.
set it up that he's suicidal. So when he does a suicidal
Yeah.
thing, we're like, oh, cool. He was set up for that.
Nope. Nope. We don't say, oh, cool. We're like, okay, so the moral of the story is just do it. Just because you're going to want to. I don't know. Horrible choices. However, setting all that aside, the guy who plays Nebraska, did you recognize him? Do you remember Candy Cane Lane, where the boss was really cool and I was like, man, I wish we saw more of him? Well, we just did, Dan. That's him.
Oh,
And I still love it. He's still cool as shit. I mean, the character sucks, but like
he's that guy. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's very cool.
yeah.
You're
He's
like,
so cool.
he's really
and
good. Yeah.
I've got a huge crush on him. He is like, he's cooler than cool, man. I need to see a movie where he gets to do cool shit because I think he could knock it out of the park.
Then we have Nettles, who's a Hispanic pilot who's sort of sexually aggressive towards Olivia Munn's character later in inappropriate ways, which we don't want to talk about. And then there's
and because he's also like the super religious guy, which is a weird. I don't know if they're trying to make a comment. I don't know. I just don't understand all of the choices that were made for this core group of people. I want to scrap them. I'd like to just scrap them and just make them like, morally gray people, right? Like, I don't know why we're doing all this.
I stole too much food. Okay, he stole too much food.
Great, yeah.
Whatever.
And even Coyle, who did Friendly Fire, like, listen, that could be a guy. That's fine. Why is the guy who did Friendly Fire also like weirdly making like these weird sex jokes all the time? How are those two things related? Right? They're not. So like you made two separate choices on a character and we're like, yeah, he friendly fired. And instead of PTSD, we're just going to make him super inappropriate. That's funny.
Well, then
I don't understand.
He does melt down at one point for.
That's true. We don't deal with it very much. There's like a 2-second. They're like, oh, he does this from time to time. And then we just continue our conversation.
And we also have like a weird thing where there's like weird, almost sexual tension between Thomas Jane and Keegan's character,
which I would love, by the way.
Which is really,
make them lovers. That would be great.
But
we don't.
They have them really weird, and you don't understand.
Yeah, it's just all weird. There's no, no.
And then
I don't know.
The last guy, Lynch, is the Irish bomber, and he's played by somebody. I don't know who that was. Didn't we know who that is?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, maybe that's the guy that got fired. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? Okay, now we cut back to Olivia Munn. She's gone to Project Stargazer, which is inside this dam. Here comes Jake Busey, who I enjoy as.
No, Dan, you can't like Jake Busey.
Oh, is he a bad person?
No, he's actually a very, very sweet man, but he stole a part from. That's not an accurate way of saying that. He did not steal it from me. He just was better than me.
Someone gave the part to him and not you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So I auditioned for this Disney show. I won't talk about which. It was Henry Danger. I won't talk about it too much, right? I went to the call. I knocked it out of the park. The casting director was like, that was incredible. That was so good. We love you. Blah, 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 blah. This is when filming is. We'll let you know. I walk out of that room. The next person heading in was fucking Jake Busey. And I was like, I'm not going to get this. This guy's like a real actor. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, I see a stupid mug on TV doing my part. And I've since then I've just been I've been mad at him. He doesn't know it, but I've been mad at him. But he was very polite. He was very nice. He held the door for me, which just makes me even angrier.
He has a fun charisma, fun energy to him, and
oh yeah, he's great. I loved him in this movie.
Very much wasted in this movie.
I wish there was more. There's a moment when the we'll talk about it. We'll talk about when the alarm goes off.
So basically, they've got the Predator here. He's on a slab. They're like investigating him, and then
but he's just napping, right?
I don't know.
There's not like if someone's been subdued, I imagine that there will be tubes somewhere, like sending things. So he's just laying down on a table.
Yeah.
Nothing seems to be holding him down, and I know there's nothing holding him down because at some point they have to hold him down. As people, like what? I don't understand what's happening.
I don't know.
This doesn't make any sense.
I have no idea. And then the dude's all like, Mentos Man's like, this is a predator. And she's all like, that's not a predator. Predator, someone that...
Oh, you didn't think this was funny? This was one of my only laughs of the movie.
Yeah, well, it was funny the first time. When they do it again, then it wasn't funny.
I agree. You're right. You're right about that. But yeah, it was just a nice little comment on the name of the movie, which is why is it a predator? He's technically a hunter, not a predator.
Big game hunter. He's not a predator. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she goes over there and it's like, oh my God, he's got human DNA in her. And then she figures out... Dude,
this is my favorite part of the movie, Dan. Be careful.
Figures out where the helmet is somehow.
Oh, so before that...
she figures out that Narcos has the helmet. She's all like, well, this one guy must have had the helmet and he must have sent it to his kid.
When she figures, I mean, okay, yes, all of that is ridiculous. But before that, there's a wonderful moment when she figures out there's human DNA and Mentos Man is like, yep. And she's like, so basically, are you asking me if somebody fucked an alien? And Sterling has this great reaction where he just like shakes his head like, yeah, that's what we're wondering. Yes. It made me laugh really hard.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It was a very, well, because, as we know, I would also do that. So it was very funny to me.
Oh, stole your
I'm not the only one that thinks about it, Dan.
So they reroute the bus that Narcos is on because they know they want to talk to him, I guess.
I don't know.
Now, a new ship comes into orbit, and then the stupid kid who's turned on the helmet is beamed up there to tell this other ship to come get the helmet.
Yeah,
and where it is.
Is he sending it messages?
Mm.
Is he texting with it? Because, like, is it like a catfishing scenario where he's like texting and the alien's like, oh, we're buddies, and then he's going to come kill him?
Oh.
I don't know either. It's very unclear, but also more unclear because then the ship doesn't go straight to him, right? Doesn't it go to the other predator first?
I don't know where it goes.
I don't know either. Why is this movie so stupid?
This movie's so confusing.
I don't understand. Shane Black writes really great movies.
No, he doesn't.
I don't understand what happened. I really don't. I'm
really
trying to wrap my head around it.
He lost the ability to write. So
there's no. I mean, maybe he's just so upset. Maybe he's in a crisis of confidence because he wrote The Nice Guys that came out 2015, 2016, something like that, and it was great, but nobody saw it.
Maybe it was an accident.
No. Hold on. You know what? Do you want to go down the Shane Black right now?
No, you did it
'Cause
the
we
other
could do
day.
it.
No, we probably shouldn't. We should probably leave him in peace.
He has written. This is his first miss in my head. This is his first miss, but it's a big miss. It's not like you made like this one wasn't very good. What happened? This is like, this is someone that's never written a movie before. That's what it feels like.
Pretty much. So the Predator wakes up and then kills all the scientists. Olivia Munn runs.
Hold on, Dan.
What?
Well, we got to talk about his wake up real quick.
He just wakes up.
So he's starting to wake up. Everyone yells, "He's waking up! Hold him down!"
Hold him
and
down.
a guy goes and puts his hands on his shoulders, 6 inches from these giant fangs that the Predator has. And then guess what? The Predator just turns his head and bites his arm off. How is that? Why would you do that, Dan? All right. Get out of here.
I don't know. I don't understand anything. So he kills everybody. Olivia Munn runs away, and then she has to take her clothes off to decontaminate. So she does that, and then the Predator finally sees her naked and afraid, and then he's all like, "Yeah, I'm not going to kill you."
Which is, I think this is something they've used before, is when they don't deem the object as a threat, then they move on because they're all about the thrill of the kill. But he's not in that mode right now, right? Isn't he in survival mode? He's been captured and he's trying to escape. I take umbrage with using this moment to be like, oh, well, if you're meek, he won't attack you. He's trying to get the frick out of there. Mm-hmm. He will tear apart everybody.
He killed a bunch of scientists who
that don't have weapons. He went
after it, but they weren't naked. So they weren't naked enough. They had to be naked.
Think that's what it was?
Nakedness.
Listen,
she
just can't wear clothes.
She said,
if you ever see a Predator, just strip him off. You'll be fine.
They also she also says that to the other guys, like, we're going to have to all get naked at some point to fool the Predator. And then that never happens. So
yep.
She, let's see, what, naked and afraid. He ignores her. Uses the helmet to see it. Oh, so he goes and steals an old helmet that they had and looks in it and sees into where his helmet is because he wants his.
That's the
he wants his real helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So he knows where he's going. She goes and loads up a trank gun and has put it upon herself. Olivia Munn, for the rest of this movie, has put it on herself to do things.
Yeah,
she has no reason.
Like
she has no reason to do action
leader.
She has no reason to do things.
I agree.
She's a scientist. She should have stayed there, and she should have started analyzing the blood and looking at everything and
done sciencey things,
doing science at the science location, as opposed to she now has like 25 minutes of her running around with a gun trying to get the shot.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Because nothing's happening. They're both just running, like it's running above her, and she's running. And why? What's the point of any of this?
Well, he's running to get away, and she's running to get the shot.
But she never does.
No.
So, like, why is this a 10-minute scene of the Predator awkwardly running? And by the way, I think they use a lot of practical effects, and this guy can't move in the suit.
Oh, really?
He moves so weird. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm sure it's very difficult with the suit. But we show a lot of the Predator, and I don't think it looks great.
It's a thing running around. It's a person running around in a suit, and you're rarely afraid of the thing. You're rarely like, like that first movie, they're in jeopardy. You're just like, they're fucked. Until Bill figures out, how you got to look for it, and then you slowly put the pieces together until they stand a chance. Arnold's got to get caked in mud. They never do that. They never fool the thing. They never outwit the thing with the knowledge that they have.
No, they outbrute it. Like, they physically defeat it, which is not the way that we are supposed to beat predators. We're not stronger than him. That's the whole point, is that it's a far superior hunting machine, and we have to use our logics.
Nope.
Not in this movie.
Not in this movie. She runs with the gun. The bus guys, they see the alien. They take over the bus, of course, and then, what's his name? I'm a sniper. Get me close. It's like, okay.
Which is not what snipers do, by the way.
Boom. Yeah.
The whole point of a sniper is they're not close. So I thought that line was very confusing.
The whole thing of a sniper is get me a gun and get me high ground.
Get me high, yeah, get me above it. Let me
Yeah.
find my angle and take the shot. But he's like, I'm a sniper. I need to be within 10 to 12 feet maximum. Please get me there.
So here we go. Here comes the second ship. The second ship shows up. She
See, so it does come to the Predator and not the kid who's sending the message, which is very confusing.
So she does a hero jump onto the bus. I'm like, why is she jumping onto the bus?
Nobody knows. Also, how did she stay on the bus? Because inside the bus, he's turning very sharp, and all of the guys in the bus are like falling over to the sides of the bus to make it seem like you're doing a lot of movement, and she's just in the middle. She doesn't move at all. Doesn't make any sense.
So then she tranks herself, and then
in the foot.
Yeah.
But it only affects her foot?
I don't know.
Like, her foot goes numb, right?
Yeah.
But, like, shouldn't it just knock you out?
Then there's a firefight in the air. A firefight in the air? What was the firefight in the air?
I have no idea.
The Predator ends up on the bus and then has the Hispanic guy, and then he's like, put your guns down. Yeah. Huh? They put their guns down, and then Soldier Boy Narcos kicks up his gun and shoots the Predator.
Does like a little hacky sack move where he kicks it back into his hand. Yeah.
If it looked like something you could humanly do, I'd be like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Didn't look like a thing a human being could do. And then he leaves, and then they like look over there, and they're like, "Oh, motorcycles! Let's all go get motorcycles because there's free motorcycles just out with keys in them, gas
and
stuff,
a ton of them. There was like 6 or 7
many
of them,
as
right?
they could need."
Like,
so they run over there. Then a soldier, Man in Black, comes over there and it's like sees Olivia Munn. And it's like, "Oh, you know too much. I've got to kill you now." And then they come over there. And
what happens?
Narcos Boy picks her up and carries her away like a sack
hold on, Dan.
rice.
What happens is Narcos Boy slides his bike, hits the agent, and the agent, who's just been hit by a moving motorcycle, does a back somersault and gets right back on his feet. As if nothing had just happened. I don't understand how you just got hit by a 1,000-pound motorbike. You broke something, bro. You broke something.
I gotta say, that's my favorite part of the movie is the action scenes, because I just stopped paying attention.
You just turn out.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, do whatever you want.
It's free time. I can play my games. I could do something. I can, do a little work. Then it gets back to the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so they carry her off like a sack of rice because she's shot herself in the foot, and they need her because they have to save her because they have a connection to her. A woman.
She's a damsel.
So
damsel.
Do you want to talk about how the Predator escapes from the area, the base?
I don't remember him doing it. So, no.
He jumps into the back of a truck, kills all these guys, and then the guy driving the truck's like, "Okay, is everything okay back there?" And the Predator picks up one of the hands that has a thumb like this, and he holds it up there like a prop.
He does a
and
thumbs
the guy's
up
like,
with the severed arm. That's right.
Everything's all right. And they drive out of the base without anybody looking in the back of a truck.
I'm so sad that I forgot this because the driver of that truck is Buzz from Psych, and I was so excited to see him, and he gets to curse because he goes, "Ah, you fucking guys," when he does the thumbs up, which is so dumb. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, first of all.
I
the
thought
Predator.
You would love that thing. I thought you would have been like, this is my
here's the
favorite
thing.
part of the
Predator,
movie.
not jokey. The Predator character, not jokey, right? That's not a thing that a characteristic that he has. The movies make a lot of jokes,
sure,
and I'm fine with that. The character itself isn't jokey. So making him do a joke, I don't like it. I don't think that that's appropriate, and I don't think it is funny. But Buzz was great.
So they go to a biker bar, they throw her on the bed, and then they're like putting treats around her so that when she wakes up, really it's okay. Weird. And then they keep putting a cup of coffee next to her, like she's gonna wake up and
super weird.
Like put a cup of coffee on the bedstand, but on the bed, it's just super weird. And then she gets up and she grabs the shotgun. She's all like, "Get away from me! I'm gonna kill you!" And then Narcos is like, "You're not gonna kill us." And then she clicks the thing and she doesn't shoot. She shoots. Then
but it's
Michael
empty.
Key was like, I knew she was going to shoot, and they did a big bet.
And they were putting bets on whether she was going to try to kill them. I don't know. This is
hilarious.
It's also weird. It's so weird.
And then poor Thomas Jane starts doing an eat your pussy Tourette's thing, and then they get in a big argument about that.
Because again, Tourette's, hilarious joke. It's very funny when people have Tourette's.
Then she sees Narcos and she's all like, I read your file. I'm a biologist. We need to find it and expose it. Expose ourselves to it.
And why would she read the file?
Because he had, remember, she did give her like the iPad with stuff on it. So I guess
she had his file because he's the one that they thought saw it.
I guess.
They
would not have shown her his
irrelevant.
file. They would not have.
I don't know, man.
They would have not shown her his file.
I don't know. It don't make no sense.
Okay, the kid puts on the helmet. And then he sees a movie about the hybrid, and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is a movie.
So, boom, he arrives at his home, and the wife is there, and then he's all like, we need to find the kid. Because he figures out that the kid has the box. Don't know why he would have gone to the house. Wouldn't he have gone to his P.O. box and broken in there?
Maybe he already did that?
Probably.
We'll just pretend. Yeah, we'll just pretend that we skipped that part.
Okay.
Also, maybe just have him send it to the house. This feels awfully convoluted for no reason.
He didn't want to put his family in jeopardy because he loves them so much.
I get that, but it's just weird now. Like, you've made it weird.
Yeah. So all the loonies are there, and then he's all like, okay, here's what reads them what they're going to do. We're going to do a grid pattern, blah, 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 blah. And the loonies are like, we're not going. And then the one guy goes, and then the other guy goes because the other guy said, you're a pussy. You can't let you go. And he's like, I don't want to go, but she said it was a pussy. And then the other two are like, I guess we're going because we're going to go. The sentiment, you understand the sentiment, but it's played terribly.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah, and the jokes aren't very good, but I like the idea of the team being like, well, we're not going to go. All right, I guess we'll go. You know what I mean? Like, it's the right mentality for that group of people to have. If it was written a little bit better, I think it would have played really nicely.
It would have been a good scene if it was a good scene. Is that what you're saying, Tony?
Well, but here's the thing: is like I did like one of the jokes. Nettles goes up to her and he's like, "I didn't like your speech. It didn't inspire me, but he called me a pussy, so now I have to go because nobody calls me like I." That was funny.
That was a good line.
But that was it. Like each character needs a funny joke to go along. And they did one.
So boom, now they have an RV and she has a microscope. Yeah. So she has a microscope and has a whole sort of science lab.
We had to have missed something here.
So I think they must have cut something out where they got the RV and the science lab.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the things they had to cut because of the actor that they had to fire or whatever, but it's a weird jump and it doesn't make any sense.
So, boom, the kid gets bullied, and then he's walking away from this house, and then the predator helmet. Oh, the kid's wearing the helmet, and then the predator helmet cues on this guy in the house and blows him up and murders him.
Yeah, murders him good. Murders him real dead. He's in lots of pieces. I liked this part. I don't know if you liked this scene. I liked it because I love the idea of like the kid wearing the mask. It's not, again, I don't think it's done super well. But I do like the thing where the kid would be like, "Oh, this is a fun," and then the kid is like, "Oh shit, I can't believe I just did that." That's fun.
Yeah, but the kid doesn't even know it happened, and so there's no consequences.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. There's no consequences. There's no reactions. Don't worry about that.
So he drops the helmet, and then he goes to the football field, and then there's like a nice dog, and then alien dogs show up.
Yeah.
Now the alien dogs are working with the second predator, right?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, they're like the hounds.
Why don't they work for the second predator?
Well, they do, right?
No.
But then one of them dies in this scene.
Yeah.
And then the other one gets lobotomized and then is a good dog?
Oh, it got lobotomized in the fight somehow?
So, yeah, so the main guy shoots him in the head or like the eye or something, and then he's a good dog.
Oh, okay. So basically the kids...
I don't know why. I can't explain it better than that. But originally they did work for
Okay.
Predator 2.
So boom, they're on this football field, and then the two dogs come, and then everybody shows up, and they're shooting the dogs, and they eventually kill one, and eventually they save the kid. And then they're like, "Oh, we better go hide." So we're gonna go hide in the school. And then the other predator is following them, and then the giant predator is following them, and then the giant predator
Yeah.
and the normal predator, the first predator, then fight. There's a 12-foot predator and there's a 7-foot predator, and then they fight. And the big predator kills the little predator, and then he says some words, and we find out that he's there looking for something, and this guy's a fugitive, and they need to find the thing that he had or stole or created or something.
Now, so here's why this is confusing to me, is that I think they're trying to make it like Predator 1 is almost a good guy because he's a traitor and he's bringing the humans a weapon that can kill predators.
That's the whole. So the whole premise is
he's not.
The tiny predator is part human. He doesn't like the big mutating super DNA predator, and so he is bringing a weapon to the humans to use against the big super duper predator.
Yeah.
But of course, that's a different movie, right? That's not the movie they were in.
Well, it has to be, because this movie so far isn't about him being a good guy. Like, if he was just constantly put into positions where he had to defend himself, I would agree with it, and I'd be fine. But he's not. He goes on the offensive all the time.
Yes.
So that's not.
And he never tries.
That's not this Predator story.
He never tries to communicate with the humans. So,
right.
So the third act that they're going to write, where they're saying all these other things, has nothing to do with what's happening in this movie. So, as you're watching it, the whole movie invalidates itself, kind of, like a Mobius strip. Wraps on itself until there's nothing there.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any. Like, I love that idea. I mean, I don't love it. I like that idea, but that idea isn't what you just did for the last hour of this movie.
Yep. Okay.
It's very confusing.
So they're trying to upgrade themselves. We have just all this exposition dump. Your spine, your DNA, and then kids on the spectrum are really the next evolution. And the predator dog is friendly, and that she throws things for it, then it leaves, and then it comes back, and
yeah, it knows how to play fetch, I guess, which is weird, because I imagine predators wouldn't teach their dogs to fetch, but maybe they do hunting wise. I don't know.
It's a dog. And then we do a whole Twinkies climate change thing where you're just like, please don't do that.
I didn't even understand what this speech, because he's like, remember when the Twinkies were almost gone and you had to go get them? There you go. I didn't understand the connection.
Okay. So the kid is drawing a map. The bad guys see the map, and so they take the kids to the copter. And then the dog comes back, and he had a grenade that he barfs up. And she...
Oh, this is to save the doc. Yeah.
I wrote, she king, fug him.
What?
And she can pick locks. Okay, so the government has grabbed all the good guys and have taken them and are beating them up to get information, including Olivia Munn.
All separately. It's important because each of them escapes on their own doing.
So Olivia Munn, the dog comes back, barfs up the grenade. They run from the grenade, but she kicks him and trips him. And then she starts picking the lock, and she starts picking a lock. She can pick a lock?
She can do anything.
She can do anything.
Which would be helpful information and something we'd believe if she was doing something when we met her. I think.
If she was a super spy, if she was like, oh, I'm James
Bond.
Bond.
If she was anything. As far as I can tell, she's a person they found on a sidewalk.
So he gets free, she gets free, everybody's free, and they had sent the couple of the guys out there to get them a mode of transportation. He comes back with a news helicopter. Then he gives them the pump-up talk, and he's all like, we're soldiers. We're going to do the thing. That soldier thing. Okay.
Soldier boy?
So everyone's converging on a ship. I don't know whose ship it is. I don't know why this
I
ship is
think
where it is. I
it's
don't know anything about
Predator
this ship.
XL's ship. I think.
No, it's the little Predator ship.
You think it's Little Predator?
I don't know whose Predator ship it
I don't
is.
know, man. I don't know.
So they take the kid in there. He figures out the secret code. Boop, 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 secret codes. Then
Yeah.
they're in. And then all the loony guys are set up on the hill ready to shoot anything. Narcos sneaks in there because he's got the invisibility ball. And then he takes Mentos Man out and puts a gun on him and is like, you're going to march up there and we're going to get out of here and everything's going to... Yeah. And then there's all this shooting.
Yeah, a bunch of shooting. Yeah.
And I don't know, probably people die, I would assume.
Yeah, some people died. I don't think any of our people died at this point.
Not yet.
Yeah.
The Predator uses the translator. He's all like, I want McKenna. And everybody thinks, oh, they want Narcos, but really they want the kid because the kid
Is the evolution.
is the
It's the
evolution.
next step in evolution.
They lock the dog in the truck. I wrote here, I have no idea what's happening. They blows up ship. Okay, they start running through the forest. Everybody's running through the forest, and they handed out Predator technology, and the big Predator's coming, and he comes to this one point where they set up bombs somehow beforehand. Someone set up bombs in the forest.
I guess I don't know why or how.
So they bomb him, and then he sets on fire, and then Thomas Jane jumps on him while he's on fire and is like knifing him,
which is kind of cool.
And he gets thrown and impaled on a tree, and then Keegan-Michael Key's character gets like all of his things broken, and so we have this quiet moment as everyone leaves to go fight somewhere else where the two of them are like, we're both dying. Let's point our pistols at each other and kill each other at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You like that part, I think. You like that part.
I think I like the idea of it. I think it was done in a way that it's not taken as seriously as it should. Like it happens pretty quick, and there's not like a somberness to it that it should be. You know what I mean? Like it feels like the way that they shot it and the way that it's edited, it just feels like, oh, we're men, we're going to take ourselves out instead of going down with our injuries or whatever, which is fine. But they're also best friends or lovers, you know? There should be some sort of connection between the two of them. There should be a moment. There should be something to let us know, like, yeah, this sucks. We're sad, but we want to go out together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. It's just weird, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
The first Predator movie was a movie that was dripping in machismo. Like dripping in machismo and
that handshake
and professional wrestling testosterone.
And it's beautiful.
And it meant, you know, you watched it, and I was not a wrestling kid. I didn't care, but I watched that movie and I was like, this movie's great. This movie's super fun. Yeah. You got what it's about. It was over the top. This movie, there's the machismo is just like, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah. Also, and listen, I know that it's 2023 or whatever, 2018 when this movie came out. And, you know, men aren't defined by the way we were before. And like real men don't have to have, where are the muscles? Why aren't there just a bunch of jacked people in this movie? That's what I want to see. Okay. I want to see some fucking dudes with their shirts off. I want to see some glistening abs. This is, it's very disappointing to me.
I mean, it's really true. I mean, Olivia Munn is like the baddest ass character in this thing, and she's like the scientist,
which I'm totally okay with. Like that's fine. I love a lead female badass. That's great. But also, you know, the second lead should have their shirts off, and they should be dudes with lots of muscles. And that's who dies, right? Like she lives because she's the baddest of asses, right? But these guys with rippling muscles, they should die. I want to see them cannon fodder.
Okay, so they grab the kid. He's in the kid. They shoot at the ship, and then they jump on the ship. They're all like, oh, jumping on the ship. And then the ship, they turn on the force field, and Narcos goes under, What's his name goes above, and then the other guy doesn't do either, and he gets cut in half.
Just chopped in half.
Just a terrible effect. The effect looked so fake.
So stupid.
Fake.
Also, why don't his legs come into play? Like, his legs should then like fall down and hit the guy that's underneath the shield.
Leg.
Right? Like, make a joke of it, because it's already the dumbest thing you've done in a dumb movie. Make it at least funny to me.
So the ship's like going there, and then the one guy commits suicide into the engine, and then it keeps on flying.
While laughing.
Oh.
It's done so poorly. Like, mental health is just taking a huge knock in this movie. It's really upsetting.
Like,
he should at least, they should be a moment. He's under the glass, he's above the glass, and he's like, I gotta do it. He's like, don't do it, don't, something. Make it seem like the guy's not, I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna jump into this thing and die. This is great. Best thing I've ever done in my life. Whee! Why is it so dumb?
At one point, Narcos hangs from a cable from below the ship flies through.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't even know how that equation happened. So eventually it crashes, and the thing comes out, and then somehow Olivia Munn, who was got to be miles away, has traversed these miles through the forest in no vehicle.
She's very fast.
And then she jumps on its head.
Yeah.
Then they use the force field on the ship to cut off its arms, and she throws him a weapon, and it blows off its legs. And
there's a lot of throwing of weapons over long distances, and they are pinpoint accuracy. Like, he's sprinting he's fully running, and she throws a weapon 20 yards ahead, and he catches it mid-stride. There's just no.
And so they basically just do a couple things, and they easily kill the predator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's dead.
Yeah, it's great.
And then we do a little ceremony with a totem from each of the loonies that are in like a thing, and you're like, no, thank you. Then we do 6 months later, we're back at the base. The kid is working there. He has his own
kid works at a government facility. I mean, you can't get better than that. I mean, this kid literally works for the government. Okay.
The least believable thing in this whole movie.
It's so stupid.
And then they're like, I guess now we're going to open the pod and see what our special present was.
And what is it, Dan?
What it is like another cuff that just goes on your arm and turns you into a predator.
Well, it's the Iron Man suit.
Oh, sure.
It's a Predator Iron Man suit. That's what it is.
Yeah. So they set up
it's great stuff.
They set up the next movie, which thankfully will never be made.
That's true. Well, you know what? You should thank this movie, because then they were like, okay, we need to go back to basics, and that's why Prey happened.
And Prey was freaking great.
Prey was great because it makes him again like, a much more subtle creature, and very like what he does one thing, right? He's there to hunt, right? Like, I don't know. This movie's so convoluted that it's bananas.
He's not there to march through the city streets with dogs.
I don't know. All of the choices in this movie were wrong, I think, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Dan, why the throwing of the weapons upsets me so much. Because they're throwing weapons over long distances with pinpoint accuracy, right?
Yes.
If you go back just a few years to his movie, The Nice Guys, there's a moment where the two characters, Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, are like 10 feet apart, and Ryan Gosling has to throw him a gun, and he throws it wide left, and it goes out the window. It breaks a window and goes out the street. That's a great moment because it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, he made fun of that in his movie.
Yep.
And then the very next movie, he's like, you know what, Pete, I was wrong. It's actually great when people do this, and let's do it 19 times. How can how can the same person have written these things? I don't get it. Sorry. If you know how they say don't meet your heroes, well, I say don't watch the worst movies of your favorite filmmakers.
And I got to do that to you.
I don't get it, man. So Yeah, I got nothing. I got no defenses. This movie's trash. It's straight trash.
Wow, I thought you were going to say that was a fun romp where they romped around and I felt all rompy and there was
But
good
they didn't romp.
rompiness going
If
on
they
to the
had romped, I
rompiness.
think I would be okay with it. If they had done the third act where they go off and have to kill a bunch of hybrids, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It wasn't fun. There was no fun involved.
It wasn't fun.
There's no
Which
fun.
that is every other movie he's done. Every single one. The whole thing is like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun while we do the other things. It's a cop movie, but it's also fun. Lethal Weapon, right? Like Iron Man 3, we're going to have fun with other comic book movies with Ben Kingsley's character. Like we're poking fun of like his whole thing is fun. What happened?
Well, the thing, you get to the point where they're like murdering, like they're on the prison bus, and I'm pretty sure maybe they don't kill the two guys, but they shoot them in limbs.
Oh, they for sure. Yeah, no, they at least kill one of them. They shotgun one of them. He's dead.
And it's like, that guy didn't do anything to you.
Nope, he was just doing his job.
He was just
quite
doing
literally
his job.
just doing his job. Probably has a family at home. He's probably close to retirement, and you murdered him.
He's murdered. And I mean, The truth of the matter is, you can play these things, and that's why with the first Predator movie, you can play things pretty fast and loose because all the people that are going to die are people that have chosen to march into that scenario.
100%. Yeah.
And so when they die, you're like, well, that's the mission they signed up for. But when you start killing a bunch of essentially civilians, just because they're getting in the way
and that's exactly right.
What you're doing, when you blow up the guy, when the kid accidentally blows up the guy in the house with the Predator weapon. I know the guy's an asshole, but you just murdered him.
Yeah, he doesn't. He threw a bottle. Like he doesn't deserve to die. Let's be real.
I mean, the bullies. Yeah, the bullies should have died because you have to kill bullies, but they never kill the bullies.
But they're not. I don't even know if they are bullies. I don't know. That's not bully. I've been bullied. That's not bully.
Anything else to say about this? I mean,
let's move on.
This might be the most confusing movie we've ever done. I will say this
doesn't make any sense.
Like the Blair Witch 2 made more sense than this movie.
I mean, when you watch that cut online where it's actually done in the right order and stuff, that's a pretty good movie.
You haven't watched that cut, have you?
No, I haven't watched it. I should watch it. I should on the 1 year anniversary of our show. I'm going to watch it.
What is the 1 year anniversary of our show?
Of that show. Sorry, I said that wrong.
The 1
year anniversary of Book of Shadows 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's remember that.
I'll write it down right now.
Put it in your phone. Okay, Tony, was there anything you actually liked this week?
There were a bunch of things I liked this week, Dan, because I went on a Blackathon and I watched almost all of Shane Black's other works. So we watched Lethal Weapons 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
He only wrote 1, and then 2 he did the story for, and then they rewrote some stuff, but 1 and 2.
Sure.
Then we watched Last Action Hero, and then we watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and then we finished with The Nice Guys 2 nights ago. And all of those movies, 10s out of 10.
There you go.
They're all incredible to me.
Lethal Weapon 2, not a 10 out of 10.
So here's what I was... Lethal Weapon 2... So Lethal Weapon 1 is like a really good movie. And then Lethal Weapon 2 is like just a fun romp, like you said.
Sure.
And I love those.
Sure.
I'm not saying that it's definitely not as good as a movie, quote unquote, as 1, but it's more fun than 1. It's Joe Pesci. Come on. Okay. I mean, this guy, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, 1 was like a real movie, and also
I agree.
a genre-defining. Like that and Die Hard were genre-defining movies. That movies like this are going to get always compared to. You're going to get compared to those kind of movies, and if your movie is just a bunch of convoluted trash, it's going to not.
We're not going to like it.
We're not going to like it.
But if you made it fun, like the rest of the Lethal Weapons, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Those are my kinds of movies. I like silly, fun movies. I'm on board.
If he'd have gone down there and then got, trapped with the loonies, and then they have to get out and they have to do something, that only he knows needs to be done. Let's just see that movie.
Yeah,
let's just see that movie.
Amen. Let's do it.
Why are you giving us multiple B and C plot line? You have 3 plots going. Just give us one
And
plot.
I would almost say they're all A plots. Like they all feel equally important. It's not like one is more important than the other. Like they give a lot of time to each of them, and I don't care.
Yeah, it's like Predator. Just you have characters, you have actors.
They're just in the jungle, man, the whole time, and it's great.
Lethal Weapon. We are following along between Murdoch and whatever the other guy's name is, and they're investigating Riggs, and they're investigating one case, right?
One case, and like the B storyline is Riggs has, some
family stuff.
Interesting, some suicidal tendencies. He's very depressed, and he's dealing with that. Like the B storyline is they think that they're not sure if he's actually, this is not me saying it, actually crazy or trying to draw a pension. That's kind of like his thing. And then Murtaugh is too old for this shit because he's getting ready to retire. And is this guy going to kill him before they retire? And that's the whole dynamic. They have one case, and it's these two characters trying to learn to not kill each other. It's great. It's very simple, very, very beautiful, very wonderfully done.
You can bring in a wife. You can bring in this, that, and the other thing. But we do not need to see like what the wife's going through every day.
No,
we don't need to see that. We don't.
It's not her movie, guys. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, so we watched a bunch of those, and they're all great. And I will never watch this movie again in my entire life
until we do it again in 1 year.
The 1 year anniversary.
I started watching Echo, the new Marvel series, which is like on
okay.
Hulu. It's really strange.
I saw that, which is weird because it's not Disney Plus, but they're also kind of doing like crossover now, which is weird because there's also a Hulu page on Disney Plus. It's very confusing. Yeah, I don't understand.
The woman playing her she's just great. The action is like real action. She fights Daredevil. It's just great. It's just like.
Oh, is it? It's the
woman from the Hawkeye show.
But Daredevil, is it like Daredevil? Okay, that's awesome.
And he just comes in there quick, and they have to go over the Hawkeye stuff. So the first episode's a little stilted because you're starting her before the Hawkeye series, and you're doing the Hawkeye series, and then you're post the Hawkeye series. So you got a lot going on, but just I want to see fights that feel like fights. It feels like people are punching, and I don't know if you ever watched the Hawkeye one. It's like you get to the end of the fights and they have to go home and do first aid on themselves because they have been
that's great.
Injured, as opposed to these people, nothing happens to anyone.
The same thing.
Yeah.
So like and that's one of the last ones I watched, but Daredevil was great.
Mm-hmm. People are.
So I feel like I would probably like the Hawkeye show. I worry that I have to watch other things in order to understand what's happening, and I've just given up.
You don't have to watch anything to watch Hawkeye.
I don't.
Hawkeye stands.
Maybe we'll give it a shot.
I mean, there's like a little bit of like he's trying to retrieve this. They're trying to find this watch, and I still don't know why they were trying to find the watch. That's something to do, but it's like they needed it because if you had,
but that's what they need.
If you had if you had the watch, it would tell somebody's secret identity or something. But that is it is the least important. It's a MacGuffin. Yeah. It's like a thing that happens. Everything is about the characters, and the characters are just wonderful.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
What's her name is in there? Midsommar, she's in there,
right?
And playing Natasha's sister, and she's just like. And I love what's her name who plays the new Hawkeye. She's great. Haley Stanfield.
Sure. Yeah.
So I rewatched. That's the one of the few series I've rewatched the whole thing. I've watched the whole thing twice, and I'll probably watch it again in another 6 months because it's just like everything about it holds up. Every character.
All right, maybe I will give it a shot.
So Tony, we need a movie for next week to watch.
Well, I don't know if I can give you a movie.
I can give
you something that they've told me is a movie.
Uh-oh.
And I wanted to do something new.
Something new.
Something brand new.
It's just like an interactive.
Yes, it's interactive. That's 100%. It's virtual reality. We're gonna live it.
It's AI's making this as we're watching it. It's
100%. This is incredible stuff. So this is a movie that I don't know when it came out. It came out last year at some point, but very recently.
Oh no!
I think October 27th was the release date.
Of just like 3 or 4 months ago.
just a couple of months ago, and it's in the same vein of what we've been talking about, which is action comedies.
Oh Jesus!
I watched the trailer when it was gonna drop, and I was like, oh my god, I love both of these people, but this movie looks awful. It is John Cena, and it is, of course, Allison Brie. No, you don't know. This is a movie called Freelance. He's like a hitman or something. He's pulled out of retirement for one last job, and he's got to protect Bree. I don't know.
I've not
It looks.
I've not heard of
Dude,
this movie.
You should go watch the trailer. It looks so bad.
I'm not watching
and
the
I
trailer.
just really wanted to watch it, and
Sure.
this is a great excuse to be able to do it without thinking that I'm wasting my life, you know?
I rewatched the second Suicide Squad, pretty much the whole movie. I think I watched the whole movie.
Okay.
Oh, there's so much good in that movie.
No, I don't think that's right. You're thinking of the original Suicide Squad, and there's a lot of good in that.
No, there is not.
Wrong. So wrong.
John Cena.
Will Smith. Great in that movie.
He's so terrible.
Margot Robbie. Great in that movie. Jai Courtney, of all people. Great in that
He
movie.
was great in that movie.
Boomerang. How was that? Was that pretty good, Australian?
Pretty good.
Boomerang.
I rewatched Barbie too. And that movie holds up.
Oh.
That movie holds up. Wow.
Yeah, Barbie's a treat.
That is a
treat.
good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be back with a movie called Freelance next week. A movie no one's ever heard of.
Rich, that's wrong. You know who hurt? My parents watched it last week, and they were both like, "It's really bad." So I was like,
no.
"Okay, we're definitely doing it." Then. If my mom doesn't like the movie, we have to do it.
Oh, that's painful.
Very excited.
So, if you like what we do, give us a thumbs up, subscription, leave a comment. You know, if there's a movie you want us to do, if you want us to do the rest of Ari Aster's movies, don't ask us because we're not going to do them.
I'm never doing that, Dan. Don't even pitch it.
Tony loves Ari Aster. And we'll be back next week doing Freelance. So see you then.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch him!